So this video is like a year in the making. I'm finally going to show you guys how I maintain my micro locks with knots. So first of all, I just want to say I have no association with Miss Melissa Blake. I've never taken her method. I have no idea how she does it. So this is not intended to be her method or like her method. Okay. This is 100% what I've learned on my own through trial and error. So it's not necessarily knotted locks. It is me maintaining my locks with knots. Just FYI. Okay. We are going to go through all the details in this video. I'm going to make a second video just of me demonstrating how to do it. So I'm going to show you a demonstration in this video, but then I'll do a separate video where it's going to be like 20 to 30 minutes of just me doing the method. So you can watch it over and over and over and over again until you feel comfortable. Lighting is good, very detailed, so that you guys, you'll get it. Okay. Then I'll do a third video where I'll talk about how do you fix the problems. Okay. Like how do you fix the issues that come along with it. Now, if you do this method, you should be good money for the most part. But when you do encounter an issue, I'll show you how to fix it. Again, that'll be a third video, probably come out maybe a week after this one. So it'll be this video, a few days later, the long demonstration, and then how to fix it. All right. This is going to be a very detailed video. It has like 8 parts, including this intro. So you're going to get to see all the details of how you maintain it. So hopefully it answers every single one of your questions, because I know you guys have a lot and you're very interested. So let's get to it. I want to talk about why people don't tend to want to show you guys how to do this. It's because this method is super specific to you and your hair. It's very customized. Okay. And I don't mean just from like head to head. I mean from like lock to lock. So there's a number of factors that are going to indicate how hard it is for you guys to do a knot on a particular lock. I know it seems a little overwhelming, but it's not. It's okay. You can totally do it. So first, we're going to go through the basics of the process. I'm going to show you guys how it works. We're going to do a nice little demonstration so you can see exactly what your hair is going to go through as you put in the knots and as it locks in the process.
So check out our lovely model here. She's going to demonstrate exactly what's going on. So the basic premise behind the method is you put knots along your hair shaft, and eventually that space between the knots will lock up. And then over time, the knots will also lock up, and then you'll just have one solid lock. Now, as we see, this is what your knot looks like with your new growth as you're doing it. Generally, you put it in, it starts off high, and then eventually your knot is going to slip down. It doesn't matter if you have 4C hair, it doesn't matter if you have 3C hair, it's going to slip down. So generally it's going to slip down to where your lock has started to lock up, basically. And yeah, and then the area above that will lock up, and then eventually you will put another knot in your hair, and then the process will continue, so on and so forth. And that is basically how the process of using knots to maintain your locks, specifically micro locks, works.
So there's a few different factors that go into how like hard or easy or how fast or slow this method is going to go for you. Okay. Those 5 different factors are: 1, your new growth. Okay. It's super important that your new growth is between 1.5 inches and 2 inches. Okay. If you do not have 1.5 inches and 2 inches or 2 inches, please do not do this. Like, please wait for your hair to grow out. If you do it, too soon, that you're going to have a lot of difficulties getting your knots through. So please, 1.5 inches to 2 inches. Like, you can have more than 2 inches, that's fine, but you'll probably have to use like multiple knots on your new growth. The second is your hair type or your hair texture. So generally, the tighter the coil, the more time and detail it's going to take you to get the knots through. Like the looser your curl pattern, it'll go a lot faster. So I'll show you my hair, for example. So here on the top of my head is where the 3C is. It can go super fast. I can breeze through this area really easily. On the perimeter, it's 4A, 3C, which also goes pretty fast in general. Here. Oh my gosh, this is the 4A section, and this section gives me the blues. I have to take the most time and take the most care with this section here. So the method I'm going to show you is going to be how I do this section here, right? Now, if you have a looser curl pattern, you can still do this method, but you'll probably be able to go a lot faster than I'm able to go when I'm here. So it's definitely the hardest section for me to do. Next factor is if your hair is moisturized. You always want to make sure you do this on clean, dry hair. Please don't ever do it on oily, greasy hair, dry hair, because you're going to have a lot of difficulty. Then you have your desired outcome. So, like, for example, my mom has finer hair, so we tend to do her reties less often so that she can kind of have some fuzz at the roots to help, give her more fullness. I have really thick hair, so I can do it more often, and I also kind of want to maintain my parts, so I do it more often. So your desired outcome is going to depend too, like, how frequently you do it. And then how far you are along in your journey. Okay, so like when you first do the method, you're gonna notice a lot of like slippage. That your knots are gonna be looser, and then as your locks start to form with the knots, you'll notice you have way less slippage. So it's a little bit easier when you first start, and then as the hair actually starts to lock, then that's when you have to take a little bit more care. All right, so those are your 5 factors. We're going to talk about the biggest challenge you're going to have is your knots catching. So that means the new lock you are putting into your hair is going to catch on the old lock. That is the dilemma. That is the thing that makes you or break you. If you know how to get it over the knots, you're good. If you don't, you'll be very, very unhappy. But that's what I'm going to teach you today. Again, I'm going to show you the method that takes for my 4A, that takes the most time and care, so that when you get to your hair, you'll be good to go. You'll be good money. So if you're ready to get started, this is what you need to be successful. You only really need to do 3 things. 1, make sure you have that 1.5 to 2 inches of new growth. Please don't have any less than that, or you'll be very, very sorry. You're going to have a lot of difficulty. Plus, it'll be too tight on your hair, and you're going to get pulling in your hair, so you don't want that. So make sure you have 1.5 to 2 inches of hair. You can have more than 2 inches, but you'll probably have to use multiple knots. Second, you need clean, moisturized hair. And when I say that, I don't mean like oils. I just mean like the water has touched it very recently. So I think with sisterlocks, they recommend no oil at all. I don't use any oil on mine. If you do, cool, that's your prerogative. Just make sure we're not using a lot of oil when we're actually putting the knots in our hair. Okay, and the last thing is you'll need like a rat tail comb. If you do encounter a mistake, especially in the beginning, you'll just need that just to help you get that knot out of there so that you can redo and try it again.
So this is the part that you all been waiting for. We are using a real life model on part 7. This is my mom's hair, so let's get down to it. So my mom's hair is a bit finer. It's not as dense as my hair. So generally she kind of has a little bit more flyaways. So before I do her knot, I tend to like roll the hair up to make sure I get it all in there. And then I literally just put a knot. I think that's considered like a single strand knot. And so there you go. I put it in a knot, and then I make sure the loop of the knot, see how, don't do that. Yeah. See, you could just pull it. But that's where you're going to go wrong. So what you want to do is, if you have previous knots, you want to make sure, like, you want to feel the knots going through the loop before you close it up. If you just pull it, if you keep the loop close to the scalp and you just pull it without feeling whether or not the knots are going to go through, then the hair will catch on the knot, and you're just going to have one big knot, and it's not going to be cute, and you're going to hate it. Okay, so again, here we go again. I do my little single strand knot. I twirl the hair for her. I do the little single strand knot. I make sure I keep that loop close to the head, and then I make sure I feel that all the previous knot that I've done have gone through the loop, right? And that's how you get a nice smooth lock. Let's do it again. All right, so I grab the hair, I twirl it a little bit. I actually don't do this on my hair because I don't have a lot of flyaways, but she does. So here you go, a little closer. So I twirl the hair for her. I do my little knot, right? I don't pull it through right away. I take my time. I make sure that loop, before I close it, stays close to the scalp. And then I make sure I feel for the knot going through the loop or the previous knots. See, there you go. And now don't forget, this is not the only demonstration I'm doing. I will be posting a 20 to 30 minute video after this where you guys can just purely see me doing these knots over and over and over again until you get a good feel on how it goes. But let's take a look at one more knot on this video before we go. That's where it's locked. That's where it hasn't locked. That's the new knot, and eventually it'll slip down, and then we do it again, right? And as you can see, her knots or locks have already formed, and this is how it looks generally. And again, she has thinner hair, and as you can see, it fills in so beautifully. She's super happy with this. This is how it looks as I'm all finished. As you can see, her scalp isn't red. It's not irritated. This process does not hurt at all. In fact, probably the worst part of the process is like popping any locks that have, decided to stick together or marry. But this is how it looks.
All right, excellent. So you've seen the basics, how it works. I've demonstrated on my mom, and now I'm going to answer some frequently asked questions. So the biggest concern, I think the number one concern when you think about using knots to maintain your locks is whether the knot is tight. Because if you're a natural, you know that you can get single strand knots, which will tear up your hair and break off your hair. So people are kind of equating it to the same thing, which is completely understandable. However, that's not the case with using the knots to maintain your locks. It's not like a single it's not like a single strand knot. It's not even comparable, right? So I'm gonna show you on my hair. This is how my hair looks I just did these locks, and you can see, or I just did these knots like 2 or 3 days ago, and this is how your knots are typically going to look after you do them, right? So when you first start the process, before that hair is starting to lock, the knots are going to be very, very loose. They're going to be very springy, and as I previously said, it's going to move down your shaft until you get to a place where your hair is started to lock, or there's another knot. Either or. More than likely your hair should be locking, so it's going to move down, and then it'll tighten up. After that hair has started to form a lock, it'll stop there. The hair above it will start to form a lock, and then eventually the knots will like mesh together with the hair. But it's not tight at all. The lock is able to move up and down. It's very bouncy, so no, you don't have to worry about that. If you guys want to demonstrate yourself, just maybe get like some hair extensions, get like a little, a decent little size, tie it in a knot, and see how it looks. And you'll see it's very springy. In fact, the reason that you should like start knotting your locks with hair that's like already locked in another way is because honestly, if you just use the knotted locks, the knots will come out, like they will fall out, like so yeah, you have a lot of grace. It doesn't cut your hair off. Your hair will still be healthy, and you can see my hair as a demonstration. How often do you do it? And that just kind of depends on you. Like for me, my hair, you can see in this video, like I have hair that grows pretty fast. It's very thick, and I also kind of want to maintain my parts the best I can, so I do mine every 6 weeks. For my mom, she has thinner hair, and it doesn't grow quite as fast as mine, so I do hers at like every 3 months, 2.5 months, something like that. And that just helps like kind of maintain a little bit of fuzz at the root, so that it helps make the hair look fuller. And as you can see from my previous video, it's like very effective. Like she's very happy with her hair. So it just kind of depends on you, but the thing that you absolutely positively have to have is 1.5 to 2 inches. Like, I'm very serious. Please do not do it any shorter than that, or you would regret it. Yeah, you'll regret it. Okay. For the extensions, I keep getting a lot of questions about the hair. Use human hair, people. Please, oh my God, please do not put synthetic hair in your hair for this. The idea is for this to lock. This hair will lock. Like my braids haven't quite started to lock yet, but like when I initially did it, they were like fuzzy, and now they're not. I have no fuzz on the hair. Like eventually these will lock. I've used like this extension hair on my previous set of locks, and it takes some time, but eventually it does lock. So if you want these to be your locks, get human hair. Do not get synthetic hair. Do not get synthetic hair. It's not that much more expensive. And keep in mind, you don't have to go as long as me. Most people will not get lock extensions as long as me. I'm on some other type stuff. Like, like feel free. Like you can get them like here to your shoulder so that it doesn't have to be expensive for you. And then maybe add it in later if you want. But please, please, please make sure you guys are getting human hair. It doesn't have to be the best quality premium. Like this stuff works. I got off of Amazon and it works. I've used it before for years. It's fine. It works. So please, human hair. What if you do if your knots catch? So if you try this method and it's going to be a learning curve, you're going to have your knots catch. Like I said previously, I'm going to do another video and I'll show you how you can use a rat tail comb to help your knots get out. And basically all you're doing is using the comb, you're putting it in the lock and then you're helping remove it out. But there is like another thing you can do that I kind of learned, so we're going to try that one too. I'll show you guys how to do that one too. That one's a little more risque, but it gets the job done. So just know that's a normal part of the process, but in general, especially when you're just starting, if your knot catches, if it doesn't go quite through, then you could just pull it, like just loosen it up. And eventually you like when you're doing them, you'll get a feel of like when you're doing your lock, you're like, that's not quite right. And you should know, just kind of back it up, start over again. It'll make your life a whole lot easier. But if you have any additional questions, please put them in the comment section. Again, look out for the video where it's just me demonstrating. I'm just going to show you, just like I put a little bit of what I did for my mom earlier in the video, but we're going to do a separate video where literally 20 to 30 minutes where you can just watch me do it so that you guys can watch it and watch it and watch it until you feel comfortable doing it on yourself if it's something that you decide to do. I'm super happy with my locks that are maintained with knots. It looks super good. I'll just show you guys again. It's late, so you know. But yeah, again, it looks great. My hair is super healthy. It's coming along really nicely. It feels really, really thick and full. I haven't had any issues. It doesn't hurt. I can do it, you know, on my own time. It takes me approximately like 3.5 to 4 hours on my hair. My mom takes about 2.5 to 3 hours on her hair. So it's a really easy thing to do. I wash my hair once a week and I'm super happy. So hopefully you guys will try this method. Tell me what you think. Make your own videos, respond. Again, tell me what you think in the comments. If you have any other questions, I will see you in the next one.